Hello and welcome into this week's episode of The Pole Position right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's Pole Position, we have a good amount to talk to you about. We got 4 NASCAR races that happened this weekend. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup, all in action from Texas Motor Speedway. K&N Pro Series West was in action at Irwindale Speedway in Irwindale, California. Formula One had their second round of 2019 in Bahrain, and 2 World of Outlaws races to talk to you about. So we'll start off with the NASCAR stuff, as that is the stuff that's already been covered here over this weekend with rewind shows, so we'll get that out of the way first. If you want to see something more in-depth about these NASCAR races, because on this show we just go through the top 10 and quickly catch you up on what happened. If you want a more in-depth recap, you need to go to the rewind shows, which are linked down below in the description. We dissect these races a lot more on the rewind shows than we do in pole position. Alright, so we'll start off with the Texas stuff, and we'll start off with the trucks from Friday. The Vancore 350, 147 laps, 220.5 miles around the 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway, Fort Worth, Texas. Kyle Busch took his 4th straight victory in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Just an absolutely incredible run he is on right now in the Truck Series. I know there's a lot of people not happy about that, but it's a great run he is on nonetheless. He has won all 4 of his starts thus far in the Truck Series this season. Led 97 of the 147 laps. Of 50 laps he did not lead in this race. Stuart Friesen came home in the 2nd position. Johnny Sauter in 3rd. Grant Enfinger 4th. And Matt Crafton rounded out the top 5 to put 3 ThorSport trucks in a row in the top 5. Rest of your top 10. Good run for Tyler Ankrum in 6th. Another good run. Also good runs for Ross Chastain in 7th. Tyler Dipple in 8th. And Brennan Poole in 9th. And then another ThorSport truck, Ben Rhodes, in 10th to put all 4 ThorSport trucks in the top 10. Alright, so that was the Vancore 350 Friday night for the Truck Series. Let's move on to the Xfinity Series from Saturday. That was the My Bariatric Solutions 300. 200 laps, 300 miles around the 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch again wins this one, but this is one that he didn't really dominate this race. Most of these wins for Kyle Busch in the Xfinity and Truck Series, they're just an absolutely dominating victory. You know he's going to win it from the green flag. This was not one of those races. He only had 33 laps in this race and kind of won it off a pit strategy at the end of the race. Your 2 fastest cars ended up 2nd and 3rd, Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell led 127 laps on the day and had to settle for 3rd. Chase Briscoe came home in 4th, and Jeb Burton, his first run in the 8 car for Junior Motorsports, rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, another Junior Motorsports car in 6th, a great run from Michael Annett. 7th, Justin Haley. First run for Extreme Racing with Jeffrey Earnhardt there in the 8th position. Good debut for them. John Hunter Nemechek in 9th, and Ryan Sieg with yet another top 10 finish. Alright, so the final race from Texas Motor Speedway this weekend was for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, and it was the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 from Sunday. 334 laps, 501 miles around the 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin wins this race off of a bit of pit strategy. Splash and go on the final green flag pit stop propelled him to the victory. Clint Bowyer came home in the 2nd position. Daniel Suarez in 3rd to put 2 Stewart-Haas cars in the top 3. And best finish of the season for both of them. Eric Jones in 4th, and Jimmy Johnson rounded out the top 5. A great run for Jimmy Johnson. Rest of your top 10, William Byron, Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Kyle Busch. Alright, so that is your Texas stuff from the weekend. So let's move on now to the K&N Pro Series West. They were not in Texas, but they were in action at the Irwindale Speedway this weekend. Trevor Huddleston, the hometown kid, his dad runs the track. He takes home the victory in the 9 car for Sunrise Ford, Bob Brancati. Great run for him, a fantastic finish, photo finish between him and Tanner Gray. They were side by side at the line, a really close finish, and contact between the two actually sent Huddleston spinning into turn 1 with a flat tire, but nonetheless, he did pick up the victory. A very thrilling finish, and great way to pick up your first win for Trevor Huddleston. Derek Kraus came home in third. Jagger Jones, Huddleston's teammate, came home in fourth, and Haley Deegan finished in the 5th position after starting on the pole. Rest of your top 10, Cole Cabrera, Matt Levin, Brittany Zamora, Dylan Garner, and Jack Wood. Alright, so that leaves all of the stock car stuff. We are done with that now. Now let's move on to Formula One. They were in action this weekend for the Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix on Sunday, the second round of the 2019 Formula One schedule. 57 laps, 308.5 kilometers around the 5.412 kilometer Bahrain International Circuit in Manama, Bahrain. Lewis Hamilton, after starting in the 3rd position, takes the victory in this one. Only led the final 10 laps in this race, and it was not looking like a Lewis Hamilton race to begin with, but he ends up in a 1-2 finish with his Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas in second. Charles Leclerc for Ferrari actually looked to have this race in hand for a lot of the race, led 41 laps, started from the pole, and then just issues at the end cost him the victory. Rest of your top 5, though, were Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel. And rounding out the top 10, your other points finishers were Lando Norris for McLaren, Kimi Räikkönen for Alfa Romeo, Pierre Gasly for Aston Martin Red Bull, Alexander Albon for Toro Rosso, and Sergio Perez for Sport Pesa Racing Point F1 team. Alright, so that is your results for Bahrain. Now let's move on to the dirt stuff from the weekend. World of Outlaws was in action twice this weekend. They did not get rained out this weekend. They did actually run the races this weekend. First one from Friday at the Keller Auto Speedway at Kings Fairgrounds, Hanford, California. David Gravel wins his first race of the season, his 40th career World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series win, and his first win with his new Jason Johnson Racing team. It was also the team's first win since Jason Johnson died in a crash last year. Sticking to the bottom of the track, Gravel slid his way by leader Shane Stewart with 14 laps to go and never looked back. Darren Pittman eventually followed Gravel, passing Stewart for second. Stewart ended the night rounding out the podium. And on to the final race of the weekend for the World of Outlaws. It was the SoCal Showdown at Paris Auto Speedway in Paris, California. In dominating fashion, Aaron Rutzel won everything there was to win at Paris Auto Speedway en route to his second career World of Outlaws win. He set the fastest time in practice and qualifying, won his heat race, won the Dirt Vision Fast Pass Dash, and then went on to lead all 30 laps in the feature. Carson Macedo and Rico Abreu, who respectively finished second and third, could close on Rutzel, but could never get enough of a run to challenge him for the lead in this dominating win for Rutzel. And that's it. That's all we got for you for this weekend. Lots of stuff happening this weekend, mostly in the NASCAR world, but we did have a decent amount of stuff happening for you this weekend. So winner interview with Trevor Huddleston from the K&N race should have gone up earlier today. It will be linked down below in the description along with the rewind shows if you want to see that. It was a great chat I had with him. And then diecast review coming up as normal on Wednesday I'm not really sure what we're doing this week. I think it's Chase Briscoe's Eldora win from 2018 in the Truck Series. Not sure yet, but I think that's what we're doing this week on diecast review. And then, of course, Bristol coming up this weekend for NASCAR, so we got a lot to talk about there. And then I believe NHRA's in action next weekend as well. Maybe something else. IndyCar. IndyCar's in Birmingham. So we've got at least that much for pole position next week. I need to look around. I believe there is World of Outlaws action next week. Yes, so we will have a couple World of Outlaws races to talk about from Tucson and Queen Creek, Arizona. So we'll have a lot for you on pole position next week as well. Do not worry about that. But if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And while you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the pole position where you always start on the front row. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.